just does not have a clue on how to run an offense. Luke Getsky should be fired. He should be fired today.
I'll stand by you. My God. Bro, you got smoked.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is FaZe Fantasy Live. I'm your host, Lonnie Z, and along with me, as usual, is my boy, Jake Hansen. What's going on, Jake? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Lonnie?
I'm good, man. Good. So the drafts are here. Some guys have multiple drafts this week, coming up, depending on everyone's schedule. But for sure, it's going to be a heavy draft weekend, and then the season starting in another week and a half or so, or 2 weeks. It's the opening day is the 5th. They're going to have 4 games to start the season, like Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Your Niners play on Monday night.
Monday night, yeah, it's a doubleheader again, right? There's 2 games on Monday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's going to be interesting. But today we're going to be talking about our top running backs.
So my number 10 is going to be Josh Jacobs. I could have easily did a little higher, but with a new team. But I like Josh Jacobs. When we do the quarterback rankings, one of the reasons I picked Jordan Love up high is because Josh Jacobs. He has a good receiving core around him, a good tight end around him, some good blocking. He has 2 tight ends that are good blockers with Musgrave, and I like Josh Jacobs. He was a workhorse with the Raiders, with the offense not as good as Green Bay's offense. So that's my number 10 this week.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs, man, is definitely, he's in a good situation. Some people are saying, yeah, he's going to be like you're on him, and other people are like, I don't know so much about him because last year he didn't do so well when they thought he should have done better. At number 10 coming in for me is Aaron Jones. I think the Vikings are going to have to lean on their running game a little bit. To just offset and give Sam Darnold some freedom. And I think Aaron Jones has a chip on his shoulder this year because, Green Bay didn't want him. They said Jacobs is better. You're not good anymore, basically, is what they're saying. And so Aaron Jones, I think he's going to have a good year for the Vikings. He's my number 10.
Aaron Jones is going to be good for him, but I kind of like I like Ty Chandler right now. I'm not saying he's going to play more than Jones, but I think it's going to be a better duo what Jones had with Dillon in Green Bay. So I kind of like a flip flop there because like we were just talking about it before we got on. It's going to be there's not a lot of running backs that are single running backs. There's a lot of dual horses this year. So that this is one of them. Ty Chandler, Jones. Like I don't see Jones getting 25 carries a game. I could see him maybe split 15 to 10 or 15-12. So, but Aaron Jones is a good pick at 10.
Yeah. All right. I agree. I agree with the whole thing about Ty Chandler. I like Ty Chandler too. He's definitely on the Vikings watch list. The coaches like him. They like everything they're seeing out of him in the preseason and what they saw last year. And I did too. I'm a big Viking fan, and so I do keep up on him. And you're right, he could hurt, but like you just said, almost every team has 2 running backs, and they're going by committee. And so some of these top 10 guys do still have to a certain extent some committee going on with them. Let's see. Okay, so my number 9 it comes in is Travis Etienne at number 9. Now, he had an okay season last year, but I'm not really high on Travis Etienne. But to me, this running back class is really not that great. I mean, I could say Derrick Henry, but but he's even further down my list. So I just feel like I don't have a whole lot of options here, which sounds crazy for a top 10 because I'm looking at I think of the top 10 running backs as elite running backs. These are guys that are going to score a lot of fantasy points in the system that they're in. So that's why I have Travis Etienne in this list. Some people would have him much higher than I have him, but I have him at number 9 because of the system he's in. He does catch out of the backfield. He's really not competing for touches with another running back. I mean, really, if you really, break him down. So I got Travis Etienne at my number 9. Well, what about you?
My number 9 is Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that's another thing. There's 2 workhorses on that team, and it's like my rankings are going to probably irritate some people, but then it might not, because I'm picking the best for fantasy, and I'm picking just because last year Montgomery and Gibbs, they both did well. Someone's going to have to break. Someone's going to have to break. It's keep bending. They're going to have to give it just to one. Like last year, it was Montgomery. This year, I think it's going to be Gibbs. But for me, picking him 9 is that reason, because it's a dual system right now. So my number 9 is Gibbs.
I think he's so explosive, so talented. I mean, we both agree on that. But come down to the goal line, is it going to be Montgomery? You know what I mean? And that's in fantasy. You have to really look at that because that makes a huge difference. All right, who do you got at number 8?
Devon Achane. I think healthy, he's going to be the Dolphins' number 1, and that's another one that you're not going to see Mostert on my top 10, man, because Achane is double, but someone's going to have to break. Achane was taking a lot of the carries when he was healthy. When he was healthy, he was getting them. Mostert wasn't getting as much, and then when the only reason Mostert was the way he was last year is because Achane got hurt. Achane was getting it, and then he was hurt, and then he was out for 3 games, and then and then he was playing again, doing it because you talked about him every week, and then Mostert pretty much picked up the slack when he was hurt. So I don't think it's going to be Mostert again like that. So that's why I got Achane at number 8.
No, that's good, man. Yeah, I agree, 100%. I think my number 8 is Devin Achane, that same guy, and I think that they drafted Jalen Wright to replace Mostert and to have him back up Achane. If Achane is healthy, he can easily be a top 5, even top 3 fantasy running back. Easy. We have him at 8 based on just what we've seen, and there could be that usage issue between him and Mostert, but Mostert gets hurt all the time. But all reports out of Miami, man, is that Jalen Wright is just freaking. He's almost making it easy for them to get rid of Mostert. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I agree. Devin Achane, 100%. I think is number 8. Coming in at number 7 for me is Kieran Williams. I think Kieran Williams could just. I think he could be a top 5, top 3 running back too. But it's just, because he doesn't have they just drafted Blake Corum. And so, so they have Blake Corum to back him up, and all accounts are saying he's looking good in camp.
It's not a bad thing to have it's not a bad thing to have a good backup. Like right now you have to. They get injured. Like, just because they have a good backup, we got Blake Corum, that doesn't mean he's going to take over from him, But if it does happen like that way, like we're saying about Gibbs and Achane, it's going to come to that point that they are going to take over. But Williams is still young. He's not like Mostert age. He's not Montgomery age. He's still in his early 20s.
Yeah, Kieran Williams is going to be fine as long as he stays on the field, stays healthy.
Exactly,
he's going to be fine, and he is another one who can be a top.
He could easily be mid-second round. Because like we're just talking, like 7 to 8 running backs are going to go in the first 15 picks, easy. First 20 picks, there's going to be almost 10 running backs. So, and he's going to be one of them.
Yeah, I think Kieran definitely will be. If he stays healthy, he's a top 5 fantasy running back. If he stays healthy, just the way they use him in that system. Who do you got at number 7?
Me and you, man, think alike. We got Kieran Williams at number 7. Same thing. I don't have to repeat it. We both have the same thought, so there's nothing there. I like the kid a lot. Like it hurts me because he's a Ram, so it's the same division. No, you know what I mean? The same division. It's rough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Believe me, I know.
Yeah. So, yeah. Same
yeah.
pick, Kieran Williams.
All right. Who do you got number 6?
You know what? I can't let the old dog go, man. I can't. I can't throw him away yet with a new team. Derrick Henry. I know a lot of ADPs don't even have him 15. I got him number 6. I mean, the guy, look, brand new team, and he's with Lamar Jackson. They have no receiving. They have one guy that's a good receiver, but Derrick Henry's not. He's not done yet. He's not done yet. He's with Harbaugh and that. I could see that guy. I could see that guy doing really well with Baltimore and with Lamar. He's not done yet. I mean, I know he's probably high, but I could see him getting 10 touchdowns this year easy.
You know, if you want to go place a bet, here's a good bet for you. Right now, his over under is 995 yards for the season. I think you go over
Really?
easy on that. You drop 100 on that, and you go
Damn.
over on that.
On Price is it
FanDuel,
Price
it's on
Picks?
FanDuel or DraftKings, FanDuel or DraftKings. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad bet, man. I think you locked that one in because
He's not done yet. He's not done yet, man. I mean, I know it's probably high 6, but
yeah.
he's not done yet, man. He's not.
No,
He's not.
he's not done. Derrick Henry is he's still a beast. I think so, and I think in that system they want to run the ball, and I think he's going to be all right in that system. My number 6 is Jahmyr Gibbs, so that's who I have at number 6, and it's just sheer talent based, and the fact that Montgomery does get banged up, and Montgomery could miss some time. And as long as and you know, everything that this list, everything is about if you're healthy, you know, and what your system is like, how they use you for fantasy points. You know, Jahmyr Gibbs is another one of these guys that can be a top 5 fantasy bet, but I think his ceiling is a little low. You know, there's a more cap on his ceiling than some of these other guys just because the system he's in. They have so many damn weapons over there. You know, we're going to get into receivers after this show. We're doing another show about receivers, and you know, they have so many weapons over there, and the way they run their offense, they really get the ball spread around. So Jonathan Taylor, I got him at number 5. And you and I were talking before we went live on this, and you were saying you think he's going to have a outstanding year this year, a comeback year.
Yeah.
Last year was just kind of weird, you know, the whole contract thing, the whole holdout thing, different type of offense, different quarterback. Then he had a different quarterback. You know, they have a whole off season to work on all that, get all that crap worked out. And I agree. I think he's going to come back stronger than ever. And if they use him like he was used in the past, he can be a top, you know, he should be a top 5, you know, fantasy running back. Only thing that could hurt him would be some goal line stuff that Richardson will vulture some touchdowns because Richardson runs down there too. And if Richardson's healthy, you know, but that can be the only thing. But as far as yards and workhorse and all that stuff, yeah, Jonathan Taylor, he's my number 5. How about you?
So my number 5 is Nick Chubb. I'm not going to take him off the list because he's hurt. Because I just been looking at some stuff all week. They have not ruled him out yet. They have not ruled him out. They said if he does miss any time, they think he's gonna miss the first 2 games, and that could be with a couple other running backs that's on our list. Like McCaffrey's right now. Like we were just talking about McCaffrey, that thinking that he might miss. You know, we don't know. So I read some stuff on it, and they said they don't think he's going to miss that much time. And if let's say he played week 1, he's going to be your top 3 pick, man, for running backs. He's going to be. He's just going to be. I mean, there's nothing that guy was going to be probably the top 2 running back last year with McCaffrey. He really was the way he was playing. So I'm not going to take nothing away because he's hurt. I'm not. I mean, I will on like quarterbacks. I will on receivers, but not him. And I should, but I'm not. There's no way. He's my number 5 because a guy still pick because you know if he's going to miss 2 weeks, I'll pick the best one of the best running backs in the league and let him sit for 2 weeks. Screw it, you know. I mean, I know it's a big shot. You know, the guy blew his knee out, but he's my 5th.
Yeah, and he did blow his knee out. I mean, he
did. He
that
blew his knee
thing
out.
was all tore up. And for me, I just I've been bitten too often trying to like I won't touch TJ Hawkinson in this
No.
draft unless he's sitting there like the 8th, 9th round and it's my second tight end that I'm just going to throw on my bench and put on my IR, because he's rehabbing. And I've just, I can't have faith that Chubb, as beast as he is going to be worth an early draft pick for me. When would you say you would draft him if he's there? Because a lot of people aren't drafting him at all right
No.
yet. So when do you think you would be a good round for people to start say, hey, if Chubb's there, I can put him on IR. I could take a chance on him.
I honestly would get me a running back first that would like my big one first, and maybe have a couple in my queue that are down, like maybe like a Zamir White or maybe like a Josh Jacobs or Etienne. And if you wanted to, you pick a Chubb
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
he's
See,
there,
that strategy makes sense.
and then you make sure you get one of those guys, because in case okay, let's say Chubb doesn't suit up for 4 games, then you got him to come in, because that guy, he comes in week 4, from week 5 on, he's going to be Nick Chubb. He's already blew his knee out once, and I look at the guy. I mean, I look at Adrian Peterson when he blew his knee out. Nothing stopped him. I mean, that's one guy that's not going to stop picking him. I guarantee he's going to go. Like when you have a draft next week, when we all start drafting next week, he's going to be gone in the first 10 rounds. He's gone. Guarantee he's gone.
Yeah, I think first 10. I say
First 10 round, he's gone, and then that guy's going to sit him.
round 7,
7,
on,
8.
I would
Yep.
think
Yep.
that's
7 on.
He'd start going.
Somebody's going to get their 2 running backs, and then get Chubb. Straight up.
That does make sense.
But he is my top 5. I mean, ranking, he's my top 5. I'm not saying he's top 5 of the draft. That's my ranking. He's my top 5.
All right. Who's number 4 for you?
Number 4 is Breece Hall. Fireworks on Broadway. He's my number 4. I have some high hopes on a couple other guys right now for my top 3. So, but Breece Hall coming back, Aaron Rodgers healthy, hopefully, Garrett Wilson. The Jets offensive line still shaky. I'm not really, too on the Jets offensive line. They lost. They should have kept Becton. He left, but Breece gets a lot of receptions, so he's my number 4.
Yeah, Breece is good, and I'll talk about him in a little bit here. But yeah, he had some pretty amazing stats considering he got off to such a slow start last year. But yeah, top 4 for sure. I agree with you, Breece Hall. You can't go wrong with that. My number 4 is Saquon Barkley, and I think Saquon's going to have a good year this year. I think he's behind a better line. He's in a better offensive system. We saw DeAndre Swift, maybe not for fantasy, but for yards, touchdowns, and things like that. Last year was a top 5 running back. DeAndre Swift in that system. So we know that Saquon is much better than DeAndre Swift. He's a much better player than DeAndre Swift. I just believe that Saquon's going to have a good year this year. The only thing I'm concerned with is Vulture. They get down to the goal line. We all know who's getting the ball. He had 15. Jalen Hurts had 15 rushing tush push. Maybe they weren't all tush push, but there were a lot of tush pushes last year for a touchdown. So that would be my only concern with them. But I like Saquon at number 4 for me. My number 3. What do you think about Saquon?
Yeah, I have him outside my top 10. Just Eagle running backs don't do it for me. They have 2 good receivers, good tight end.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you hate the Eagles because you're a 49er fan. My bad.
No, I don't. No. I hate more teams in the West. I hate the Cowboys more than I hate the Eagles. I don't hate the Eagles. I just don't see Barkley being the horse that everybody thinks he's going to be. Like I said, they have way more better receivers than they have on the run game. Hurts is going to run the ball a lot. He always does. So that's why I think he's going to take a lot away from Barkley. But it's not a bad pick. I mean, it's not like I don't agree that he should be in top 10. He was almost in my top 10, but I think for fantasy points wise, I don't think he's going to be top 5.
All right. Who do you got number 3?
Number 3, I got Bijan Robinson. I think the kid has a lot of promise this year. They're finally just going to, with the new coach and everything, they are saying he is the man. He's going to run the rock. It's his ball. That's it. You have Kirk Cousins. It's going to be a lot better. They're finally going to use the team around him. They don't have a big committee like last year. I mean, I know Algier is still there, but that's pretty much with every team. You have a two-headed monsters pretty much with more than half the league. So I just think that he's going to get more of the ball this year.
Yeah, I think my number 3 is Bijan too, and for all the reasons you said. But an interesting thing, their offensive coordinator just came out and said, we have to make sure Tyler Algier stays active, and he's going to get a ton of work, is what he said. Now, coaches say stuff all the time, but in this case, I believe it. And so that is probably going to be a committee again, but that offense in a whole should be better just with the arrival of Kirk Cousins. I think Pitts, once we do tight ends, we'll see where he lands in our top list. And Drake London could have a breakout year too because of Cousins is there. And that should open up for Bijan, Algier, for everyone. So, yeah, Bijan's dynamic, man. And there's a lot of hype about him this year. I do have him at my number 3 also. So, number 3 for me is Bijan. My number 2 running back is Breece Hall. And I just think Breece Hall this is his year. He's about to take over that fantasy running back position. His rookie year, he was on the way. He could have damn near finished RB1 in fantasy his rookie year if he didn't tear his ACL. That's how good he was. Last year, he's recovering. He was off to a slow start. But even after off to a slow start, he was second among all running backs in total yards despite that slow start. Second.
Mm-hmm.
With Aaron Rodgers there this year and the arsenal that they have, that's only going to help Breece Hall become a more productive fantasy player. And they had an inept offense last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how Saleh kept his damn job, but he did. And he's on my watch list, and he's on my you better perform quick out of the gate, or I'm going to be ranting about Saleh.
Mm-hmm.
And next year he'll be in our intro.
True.
About one of these guys that needs to be fired. I just like Breece. Matter of fact, I think Breece could easily be the number 1 fantasy pick overall in some leagues. But he's my number 2. Who do you got number 2?
Jonathan Taylor. Got a lot of high hopes for him. Richardson healthy. Receivers healthy. I think he's going to come back and look like a guy before his injury. He was explosive before he got hurt. He really was, and he finally figured out the contract situation. Finally showed up this year. He was in all camp. I think he's going to be the guy. I think he's going to be the second best fantasy running back this year. Really do. I think but for him to be like that, it will help Anthony Richardson a lot. Should help him from not running, getting beat up, and all that. So I think it depends on Jonathan Taylor, the way he is, to help Richardson out during the year. Because maybe it does help him not get hurt. The first 4 games, he didn't have Taylor.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt. He got hurt with the 4th week. So he never played with Taylor. So I think that's going to help him a lot.
No, I agree. I had Taylor down at number 5 for me, but for all the same reasons. This guy, he's going to have a bounce back year for sure. He can easily finish top 1, 2, 3, any of those. And like we said with the quarterbacks, you could flip-flop these top 5 basically. You could damn near just flip-flop them and put them wherever, and you're not going to be wrong. It's always good. Who do you got as your number 1?
I have Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey. Yeah, exactly. Strain Caffrey. Yeah, healthy. Right. There's no way you're going to keep him off the list, and they're saying it's not a big deal. They're saying he's going to play. So I mean, there's nothing really even to talk about. I mean, we all know why we're going to pick him. He's a dual threat. He's getting 5 to 10 receptions a game plus 25 carries a game. I mean, he led the league with pretty much every stat. So McCaffrey's my number one.
Yeah, no argument here. Christian McCaffrey, he's my number one also. And we just talked about, I told you I have the first pick in one of my drafts, and I said I'm kind of shying away from him, though, because of that calf and because so much usage over the past, couple seasons, and he's getting close to that plateau. So I like McCaffrey, though. You can't, I couldn't put him anywhere else on this list because he still is, if he's healthy, hands down.
He had over 2,000 yards last year, man. Over 2,000 yards.
Yeah, hands down the best fantasy player.
He's the best
Period.
fantasy player. Yeah, honestly, he is the best fantasy player right now. Like over quarterback, receiver, running, but he is the best fantasy player.
And in that scheme, it just takes his skill set to a whole nother level.
Whole new level.
And so, Christian McCaffrey, there's our top 10. Whether you agree or disagree, let us know in the comments. But that's who we think are the top 10 running backs. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about, and we're going to wrap this up, but we're going to talk a little bit about some honorable mentions, like
some fades.
A couple 3 guys or some fades or something like that.
So I have my 4. I'll start off. I'll just start off right now. I got James Cook with Buffalo. Easily could have been top 10. The guy did really well last year, but I think he got caught up in the other, there were some injuries last year with the Buffalo, but Cook, Saquon Barkley, of course, Travis Etienne, and Zamir White is my 4. I like Zamir White a lot with the Raiders. They just named Minshew the starter, so we don't know. But Zamir White, he did good last year with Jacobs hurt. So that was my top 4.
Yeah. So for me,
honorable
mentions would be James Cook is one, for sure. He could have made this list round number 9 or 10.
Easy.
He could have got in there easy. If this guy stays healthy, Alvin Kamara could have made this list. But the last couple seasons, he hasn't shown me that. And I think one of your pet peeves is Dennis Allen. And I think Dennis Allen is, I'm not going to call him an idiot yet, but he's getting to that territory.
Not yet.
Because, and I know that Kamara's been hurt, but if he's healthy, he's a man. He catches, he runs, and if they use him right, he should easily make a top 10, running back list. And then I would say Isaiah Pacheco, the way that they're going to use him, he's probably going to start getting in that top 10 category conversation this season. And the last one with me would be Josh Jacobs. And for Josh Jacobs, he's in a good situation. If he can have a bounce back year, last year he wasn't so good. It could have just been the environment, man. He went through all that crap with the contract and this and that and finally gets paid. And then, so we'll see. And I like LaFleur's scheme way better than the Raiders scheme for running backs. And I think Josh Jacobs easily could have made that list. Some guys I'm fading this year. You'll probably not see them on any of my teams unless I have no choice. One is Rashad White. I'm just not going after Rashad White, man. I know what they say. I just don't care about that system very much. I think Bucky Irving, they went out and drafted him for a reason. And he could, because he has a skill set where he catches the ball in the backfield. He does a lot of things. He's a small little guy, but he can really take away from some of Rashad White and what he's doing. Joe Mixon, I'm not comfortable with Joe this year. I'm kind of fading him. Even though he's in a better situation and may have a better year, I don't know. He's getting up there in age, and I'm just really not into Joe this year. So those are a couple of fades I have. A couple of guys that I think you could still late is like James Conner. If he's there in like the 6th round, he may be there in the 6th round. He could be. And if you got that 5 to 8 round where a lot of guys do 0 RB, James Conner, he's still a stud, man. He really is. And I know that they got Trey Benson in there to take over one day soon, maybe. But I like James Conner in that situation. And I wouldn't touch DeAndre Swift either.
No,
I
that
would
was one of my
I wouldn't
no.
touch him with a 10-foot nothing. That offense has a lot to go around, and he's not gonna. They've proven
Yep.
me they don't know how to use running backs.
No, I really think Roshan's going to take that spot.
Bro. Okay, so you said what?
Huh?
Forgive me for laughing, but I just thought of something right now. You said that Zamir White's on your honorable mention list, and Zamir White, he hasn't looked that great in preseason, but that doesn't matter. I think he's talented, real talented.
Mhm.
But bro, I cannot.
Luke Getsky?
Yes, Luke
Yeah, I know.
Getsky. I can't mess with the Raiders, their offense,
Yeah.
other than Devontae Adams.
Well, Luke Getsky
is an idiot.
Getsky more on the passing. Yeah, more on the passing side to me.
So that's why
More on the
Zamir White
passing
is going to
side.
suffer under him, I think.
I just think the way he came in last year, Zamir White, for a little time he had, he looked good.
Yeah.
He was up top.
Yeah,
He was.
I
He
agree.
looked good. So I think with starting without no Josh Jacobs, he has Alexander Madison's on the Raiders now. But I think, like, for an honorable mention, I think he's going to be a top 15 running back. Like, he was my 14th. Like, I picked 10. He was my 14th running back.
I looked at
think,
Zamir and I thought, man, this is a good, like later, like fourth, fifth round, because that's where all the running backs are going to be gone by the fifth round.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So maybe fourth, if he could drop to the fourth, Zamir White might be. But then, I just can't trust Getsky, man.
No, for sure.
I can't go on a rant.
But,
I can't go on a rant about.
But he's going to get the rock, though. He's getting the ball. But he's getting the ball.
Let's
he's
hope
going
so.
to get the ball. Getsky ruined Fields, everybody says, but Fields was already gone. I think I think Fields was already gone before Getsky.
I think Getsky.
Like, my fade is Kamara.
And I can see why. Totally see why.
I think Kamara. I mean, Williams is healthy. Miller's healthy. Well, he's going to be healthy, but I can see Kamara. It's finally looking like it's the end of Kamara coming up soon. Not yet, but I think it's the end of the Saints. Derek Carr. I don't know. Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, they're old. The Saints are just getting old. Honestly, they have Olave. That's it to me. Shaheed. Yep, Shaheed's a good one. But it's hard to pick a Saint offensive player for me right now. Even like when we did the receivers, it was hard for me to even to put Olave in there. And my other one is a Chuba Hubbard fade. They have Miles Sanders over there, and they drafted Jonathan Brooks. Once Jonathan Brooks comes back after week 4, I think he's going to be the starter, unless something just totally changes on us.
I think Brooks is definitely destined to have a strong second half, and if you can draft Brooks late and stick him on your IR if you have that room, and just wait until he finally gets in there, because he's coming off the ACL tear too back in November. So we'll see, but I agree with you on that. I wouldn't mess with Chuba either.
And then I got one more to fade, Mostert. With Achane, and then, like you said, Wright was drafted. If everything goes the way that they want Achane to be, it could just flip-flop on a Mostert. I know a lot of ADP, they have Mostert top 2, top 3. I'm not touching Mostert, man. I am not. Last year to me wasn't. It was a fluke a little bit to me. If Achane didn't get hurt, that wouldn't have happened. That would never happen.
I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it a fluke. Mostert is good, and that scheme is a running back scheme. Right. It's an offensive scheme all the way around.
But he wasn't the starter. He wasn't supposed to be that. It was Jeff Wilson and him and Achane got hurt.
Yeah,
Jeff Wilson got hurt, and then Mostert was the guy.
Yeah, he had 20 touchdowns. Well, Mostert started off the season as a starter last year. He started the season as a starter, and Jeff Wilson was old. Yeah. So, but I feel you on that. I feel you on Mostert. All right, well, there's our top running backs for the 2024 season. Hopefully you got something out of this episode. I am Lonnie. He is Jake, and we will catch you on the next one.